Morning, Marshal.
Morning.
Just tell me where I can find the offices of your newspaper.
Turn at the first street, about a half a block down. You can't miss it.
Thank you kindly. Hey, can I help you? Hey, the boy needs a hand.
Oh, the Cartwrights can take care of themselves.
Sounds like he's getting the worst of it.
Yeah, sounds like it is.
Looks like somebody in there is hard to convince. Say, you are the marshal here, aren't you?
That's right, sir.
Well, shouldn't you go in there and break it up?
Reckon not. People in this town mind their own business.
Look, I told you to stay out of it.
Listen, little Joe, Paul told me to take care of you, and that's exactly what I aim to do.
Joe, I can take care of myself.
Joe, you get up on that pony right now, or else I'm just going to naturally clobber you. Who's the big fella?
Oh, him? He's another Cartwright.
I'm new in Virginia City.
So I noticed.
It's quite a town. Who are the Cartwrights?
Well, I reckon you'll find that out soon enough. I haven't asked you who you are, have I?
Oh, that's right, you haven't.
Maybe you shouldn't ask so many questions. Like I said, this is the kind of town where folks mind their own business.
What time you fellas got home?
What's new in town?
Bill is a tomb, Paul.
Yeah, nothing happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bunch of men camped in High Valley.
What are they doing there?
I don't know. Let's find out.
All right, come on, let's go.
All right, hurry it up. There they come. Get that stuff in the wagon, quick.
What am I doing here?
Wait a minute, Cartwright. We don't want any trouble.
You're trespassing on private property, mister.
Well, you fellas own so much land around here, it's kind of hard to figure where your property ends and the rest of the world begins.
If you have any trouble figuring it, mister, we'll be happy to oblige you.
Oh, we're pulling out.
What were you doing here in the first place?
Doing a little sightseeing. But one day you might want to sell off some of this land.
What have you got in the wagon?
Just some prospecting equipment.
Let's not hold them up, boys. The man said they were moving on. And next time you want to know where the rest of the world begins, you might try asking.
Hold on. All right. Oh.
In a minute.
What is it?
It's like some kind of surveying equipment. It looked like them guys' land when they said something about buying some land.
They're interested in land, all right. I just don't think they're interested in buying any of it. Enough to see what they were up to. You follow High Valley, reach the Truckee, and drops down the west slope. A natural route for cutting a road right through our property.
A road or railroad?
They intended to sneak in, make their survey, and sneak out before anybody ever saw them.
Well, the question is, why and for whom?
Come quick! Come quick! Too many people! People everywhere! All over Ponderosa!
Hopsing, you got a bigger imagination.
Hey, Paul, you and Adam better get out of here. There's people all over the place. They come to see the wild man.
What wild man?
Look, right here in the Enterprise.
Wild man of Washoe, loose on Ponderosa. Now, what fool put a thing like that in the paper?
Well, there's the name of the man who wrote it, Josh.
Sam, take a look at this telegram. The San Francisco Bugle. Confirm wild man story. Flooded with inquiries.
Big city newspaper, too.
Which one of you fellows is Josh?
Oh, that's sort of a pen name I use.
Did you write this?
The Wild Man story? Yeah, sure I did. How'd you like it, Mr. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Cartwright. Adam Cartwright.
I'm Sam Clemens. I haven't been in Virginia City very long.
I'm afraid you're not going to be around very much longer, Mr. Clemens. You see, this little contribution to literature brought 500 people tramping across the Ponderosa this morning.
As many as that?
Yes, they ruined the field of hay and scared the wits out of a herd of cows. We had to rescue 4 of them out of the duck pond, and my people are still trying to round up the rest of them.
Wow, it's just a bit of sagebrush humor. We had no idea folks would take it seriously.
Yes. Well, I want a retraction of the wild man story to keep these fools off our land.
Oh, well, I'm afraid that's kind of hard to do, Mr. Cartwright. You see, I got the story from a very reliable source.
Then you leave me no choice. I presume you know how to handle a gun.
Oh, now, hold on, Mr. Cartwright. I haven't got any gun.
Well, maybe you're pretty good with your fists, huh?
Well, sure. When I was steamboating on the Mississippi, the fellow didn't like me very much. We had quite a fight until I tripped over a rope. Of course, he outweighed me about 5 pounds. Come to think of it, I sort of hate to mess up these new clothes I just bought. Couldn't we settle this a little more peaceably?
Are you trying to make a fool out of me? Now, I want that retraction in tomorrow's newspaper.
Well, you're making this a little difficult. You see, the Enterprise never apologizes for stories it prints. It's kind of a policy.
I see. Well, maybe I can help change that policy. Now, you understand about that retraction?
You'll get your retraction, Mr. Cartwright.
Thank you.
You all right, Sam?
Whew. I kind of like those Cartwrights.
Hey, Paul! Hey, Paul, here comes Adam! Got somebody across his horse. Maybe it's that Josh fella.
Who have you got there?
Found this boy roaming the hills.
Is he all right?
He's all right. Take him to the wash house. Let Hopsing wash him up.
Seems to me this Josh fella had you buffaloed, Adam.
Well, what are you going to do when a man won't fight?
What kind of a man is he? You count?
I don't know. Anyway, he promised to print a retraction.
Well, I certainly hope he does. I don't want some fool reporter printing stories that'll send more people out here.
It's hard enough as it is to keep an eye out for strangers.
Now, listen, boys, I want you to be careful. Don't ride out by yourselves anymore. If someone is going to pull a land grab on us, they can't hide their hand much longer.
做通天光做咗黑，跟住有時候做啲咁嘅事群啊。Hopsing quit. Too much of foolishness.
Hey, what's the matter with you?
Work hard. Make a fine supper. Wash a dish. No time for foolishness.
Now, just settle down, Hopsing. We got enough trouble around here already.
You got trouble. Hopsing got the foolishness. Give a boy, you say wash up clean?
Boy? Ain't no boy around here.
Oh, Adam found some lad wandering around. Well, what'd you do with him, Hopsing?
Him no boy. Him girl. What? You go look see, please.
Oh, Adam, if you don't know a boy from a girl.
Shut up. Where is he? I mean, she.
Still in the wash house.
Well, bring her in here.
No can do, boys. Burn up clothes. All very bad shit.
You know, I think I better see what I can do about this.
Maybe you just better stay right where you are.
Good luck, Adam.
You in there! Put this on and come on out. I tell you, I found her in the brush, and that's all I know.
Yeah, well, you should have asked me, Adam. I could have told you it was a girl.
What are we gonna do with her?
Oh, we'll get rid of her.
This way, Missy.
Hello? Won't you sit down? What's your name, Johnny?
Why did you run away from me? Ain't you got no folks, no relatives?
Perhaps you'd rather not talk until morning.
No. I think you're friends. My name is Rosemary Lawson. My father and I left San Francisco to come to Virginia City by wagon. My father was a school teacher, but he wanted to look for silver. We didn't have any trouble until we got into the mountains. And one night, we were camped near the Truckee River. It was very beautiful there. We were very happy. We sat by the fire and Daddy sang some old songs to me. Then I went to bed in the wagon. Later, I was awakened by pistol shots. I looked out and there were strange men in camp. They killed my father.
I think you've talked enough for tonight, Rosemary. Perhaps see that you get some hot food and prepare that room at the end of the bunkhouse. You rest well.
Remember that filly colt we found in the upper pasture last spring? Some skunk of 100 killed its mammy.
Yeah, I remember.
She was scared to death, too. It took us all day long to run her down. They did more to her than kill her father.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
I'm Dr. Ephraim Lovejoy. I represent, sir, a group of distinguished scientists.
Scientists. Adam, what's in that wagon?
Some kind of steel hooks.
Grappling hooks. I'm going to fish for the body in the lake.
The body? What are you talking about?
With the body of the wild man, of course. Didn't you read about it in the Territorial Enterprise? I expect to get off an immediate report to my scientific group.
What does it say, Paul?
Wild Man of Washoe is dead. His body having been consigned to the waters of Lake Tahoe, it will now sink to a depth of 200 feet where it will remain motionless, encased in a block of ice, while the pressure encountered reduces it to the stature of a child.
I thought they was going to print a retraction.
Yeah, some retraction you got, Adam.
Surely, gentlemen, for scientific reasons.
That article was written by a Lion newspaper reporter named Josh. Now head that buggy back to his Virginia City and fast.
And put out the fire.
Well, Adam, looks like you got your retraction. Josh killed off the wild man.
Well,
the next time I'm in town, I think I'll pay this Josh fellow a little visit.
And I tell you...
Let's get out of here.
Just a crease. He ain't hurt bad.
You better have a good story this time, mister.
I've got nothing to say.
Well, you better think of something. Really?
Why take it out on me? The man you want is back in Virginia City.
Get his horse.
Why would they bypass the main railroad line just in order to cut across the Ponderosa?
25,000 acres of prime timber and grazing land, that's reason enough, isn't it? Why, the railroad people could grab that much land just by checkerboarding a right-of-way across our property.
Well, by checkerboarding, they could seal off every other square mile of land.
That's right.
Yeah, but Paul, would any court in the land approve a right-of-way that ain't nothing but a front for a land grab?
Not unless they got to a judge.
Hey, you mean Judge Billington?
I don't think it was any coincidence at all that we found the judge in Lash's office.
I wouldn't put it past the old scallywag.
Is anything wrong?
Hey, Adam. Hey, take a look at what happened to that little boy you found.
Well,
Hey, you sure look pretty.
You know, I don't understand how I make such a big mistake.
and that Hobsing's a pretty good outfitter.
Oh, he bought a lot more than I need. I don't know how to thank all of you.
Somebody come here. Ride up on a mule.
That's all we need, another scientific expedition. Rosemary, let's find out who this is.
The newspaper reporter.
Afternoon. We printed the retraction about the wild man.
So we noticed. Would you care to meet him?
Wouldn't that be a little hard to do? After all, it was just something I saw dreamed up.
Well, Mr. Clemens, I think you should be given the opportunity of meeting the wild man. Here she is.
You mean she's... That's right, Mr. Clemens. There's your wild man. 20 foot tall with a manzanita bush in each hand and a wagon dog in her mouth. Well, I don't know what they're talking about, miss, but you're the prettiest wild man I ever did see.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Clemens, to what do we owe this visit?
Well, for one thing, I thought you ought to know there are warrants out for your arrest.
Warrants? Well, I think we ought to talk about this inside. Rosemary, tell Hobsing we'll have a guest for dinner.
Yeah, I'll take you.
Thanks.
Mr. Clemens, I homesteaded the Ponderosa, fought Indians and drove off outlaws. I'm not going to let Lash or anybody else grab my land.
Well, if the railroad got a legal right of way and checkerboarded the Ponderosa with land holdings, what would you do then?
Fight. We've got guns, ammunition, and friends.
You can't fight the law with guns.
I don't think you have the proper respect for guns, Mr. Clemens. But you'd be surprised how many people have.
Oh, I got a lot of respect for guns. Good balance. The thing is that sometimes you get right smack dab into a fight that you can't settle with guns.
Over the fists.
That's right. Now, if our hunch is correct, everything depends on defeating Billington in the election so he won't sell out to the railroad. Looks to me like we ought to get started then before the election. You can't defeat a politician with guns, but you might be able to with laughter.
You mean laugh him out of town?
Something like that. Sometimes the pen is mightier than the sword.
Well, I don't know, Mr. Clemens. I think I'd have to put my money on the sword.
Yes, up against that crowd, I think I'd count on my guns.
Oh, wait a minute, boys. Sam, if you want to fight this thing out with your pen, well, that's up to you. But we'll be around with our guns to help you if you need us.
Fair enough.
And I sure would like to know how you're going to go about it.
Just keep reading the Territorial Enterprise.
Professor Personal Pronoun runs for office in Virginia City by Josh. And Jeremy C. Billington, friend of the miner, the mill worker, and the back alley dog, spoke at a political rally last night. Most of the speech was devoted to the nobility of Mr. Billington himself. An alarming number of sentences began with the pronoun I, which qualifies the judge as a professor on the subject of personal pronouns. During the discourse, it was possible for this reporter to discover that the professor is against sin, gravy on the vest, and overflowing water closets.
Hey, this fella Josh gets right to the seat of the trouble, don't he?
I guess our friend Josh knows what he's doing after all.
Josh claims Professor Personal Pronoun will provide more free air, stronger zephyrs, taller mine mules. He's making a fool of you.
That doesn't mean a thing. I'll beat Henry Walker by 3,000 votes.
Billington, I've got too big a hand in this game to take chances. No quack newspaper reporter is going to stand between me and the Ponderosa.
You've known me all your life. My friend.
Shut up. Your friend's my eye. Let's get out of here.
Where's Sam Clemens? He's covering the political rally. Aren't you folks taking a big chance coming into town?
Well, apparently not as much of a chance as Sam Clemens. We heard he was beaten up.
Didn't stop him. He's still going strong.
Yeah, well, how long will he keep on taking it?
Story in the presses.
All right, now!
Story out.
Sounds like you're starting a riot. What happened?
Read about it in your exhibition.
Adam Phil, you next. Go!
Knock off fast foot,
Hey, Josh, I sure am anxious to read that story.
Josh. That's what's wrong.
What's wrong?
I knew it all along. It just wasn't right.
Hey, don't stop writing. Come on, finish it.
For Pete's sake, Sam, finish the story. Joe, when I was a boy living on the banks of the Mississippi, I used to dream about becoming a river pilot someday.
Well, dream about it some other time.
Hurry up with that darn story. Us, watch the back door.
Josh, get down!
You have to live on the Mississippi to know what it's really like. The way those big old boats come down the river, the leadsmen standing out there on the bow, taking the deck and singing it out to the pilot on the bridge. On a summer evening, it has the sound of music.
Music? If you don't get that story finished, anything you're going to use a funeral march.
I can still hear it. Mark 4. Mark 3. Quarter less 3. Half Twain. Quarter Twain. Mark Twain.
Joe, I got it.
You sure almost did get it, Mr. Clemens.
No, you don't understand. I mean, I finally found my name.
Wait, your name Samuel Clemens?
No, Hoss, I mean my pen name. Mark Twain. That means river running clear, 2 fathoms of water beneath the keel. That's what rivermen call real clear sailing.
Everything's pretty clear around here right now, Mr. Clemens. I don't know about that name, Mark Twain. Seems to me like I've heard a lot better names than that before. You sure that's a fitting name for a writer?
I don't know, Hoss. We'll just have to give it a try.
You got the finish of that story, Sam?
Everything but the byline. Sign it, Mark Twain.
Mark Twain? Well, it's better than Josh.
Well, what happened to Samuel Clemens?
I guess we've seen the last of Sam Clemens.
You know something? I like it. Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
I guess we go out of town. Where's the other, Sam? Out off the press.
Professor Personal Pronoun won't be around anymore. By Mark Twain.
Well, it's quite a fight, Sam.
Yeah, I guess you were right at that. The pen is mightier than the sword.
Anytime you want to visit Virginia City again, you just ride up and let us know.
And be sure to sign it Mark Twain so we know what it is.
Bye, Sam.
I sure will. I'll sign it, Mark Twain.
Thank you.
Morning, Marshal.
Morning.
Just tell me where I can find the offices of your newspaper.
Turn to First Street, about a half a block down. You can't miss it.
Thank you kindly. Hey, can I help you? Maybe the boy needs a hand.
Oh, the Cartwrights can take care of themselves.
Sounds like he's getting the worst of it.
Yeah, sounds like it is.
Looks like somebody in there is hard to convince. Say, you are the marshal here, aren't you?
That's right, stranger.
Well, shouldn't you go in there and break it up?
Reckon not. People in this town mind their own business.
Look, I told you to stay out of it.
Listen, little Joe, Pa told me to take care of you, and that's exactly what I aim to do.
I can take care of myself.
Joe, you get up on that pony right now, or else I'm just going to naturally clobber you.
Who's the big fella?
Oh, him? He's another Cartwright.
I'm new in Virginia City.
So I noticed.
It's quite a town. Who are the Cartwrights?
Oh, I reckon you'll find that out soon enough. I haven't asked you who you are, have I?
Oh, that's right, you haven't.
Maybe you shouldn't ask so many questions. Like I said, this is the kind of town where folks mind their own business.